Alright, yo, ladies and gentlemen, how yous all doing? Is all doing alright out there, aye? Well, what can I tell ye? It's been a bit of a crazy adventure I've been on the past few days. Basically, I booked in a couple of weeks ago to come to England to take part in a 6-day ayahuasca ceremony. Every night I'm going to take ayahuasca for the next 6 days, starting tomorrow night. New Year's Eve is the first night. And my son's been no too well back in Turkey. And I got up in the morning, my flight was booked, I hadn't bagged my packs, because you see, this is what happens. When you take ayahuasca, it gets you in touch with your spiritual side, you can? And the ego doesn't like that. The ego wants to remain in control, doesn't it? Any threat to its security, it takes quite personally, because really the ego is a thought energy. It's not actually real. That's why it continually drags us into the future or into the past, you know. Because when you're in the present moment and centred and living from your heart, the ego doesn't exist. And that's what ayahuasca does. It gets you in touch with the deeper layers of yourself and makes you realise what a fucking arsehole your ego is. So, for the past, the ego is like an entity, and it's in telepathic communication with all the other egos out there in ego world. So, what's happened to me is, for the past week, my bank card got refused on the internet. That was the ego playing up. So I borrowed my wife's card. I've got a joint account because the bank wanted me to come to fucking England to show my passport to them, because I failed the security question, because I've got £20 in a savings account for my son, and after the third day of me phoning up, because the card keeps getting blocked and I phoned them up to unblock it, I failed the security question. I was pissed off at them and forgot the fact my son has £20 in a fucking savings account that opened up 7 years ago. So they refused to unblock it. I had to come to the UK with my passport. Alright, fair enough. I says, how can I come to the UK if I can't fucking book the tickets with the fucking card? But luckily my wife is a joint account, my soon-to-be ex-wife, and I used her card online, but then it got banned too. Fortunately I got the tickets booked in time. But this is the ego, this is the games it plays. It tries to put obstacles in your way. And for the past 2 weeks my son's been no well. I think that was the ego up to its tricks as well. I didn't get how, but I'm blaming it anyway. So I got up on the day my flight was due. The day before I was going to pack all my bags and all that, but the ego told me to get stoned out my tits, and when you're stoned out your tits you can't be arsed doing anything. So I just put that off till the next morning. And my wife was, didn't go, how am I going to cope? Ken, I've got a fucking dodgy back, I can't look after the boy myself for a couple of weeks. I need you here, I need you to be my fucking slave. You seen the film Misery? Aye? Well, I'm James Caan, alright? So, I got up in that morning and I woke up and my ego told me, nah, didn't go today, Nob, just didn't go, just fucking, it's going to cost you quite a lot of money for the 6-day ceremony. I'll not reveal to you how much, but it's fucking quite a lot. And you're going to spend more money. I'm doing another 2-day course in ritual and high magic after this 6 days at ayahuasca, and hotels and fucking buses and planes, trains and automobiles, you can. So my mate came, and I'm renting a flat down the road, and he's the guy that got me it. So I went to the bank with him and says, I'm not going to bother going, I'm just going to stay here. Gets back to my house, my flight was leaving at 4 o'clock, I had to be there at 2 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, I phoned a psychic. I said to the psychic woman, do you think I should go? And she started fucking telling me, you should go, Nob, because you're going to fucking have some revelations when you're there, and you're going to get new creative doors will open for you, and the more time you can spend with people on a higher spiritual plane, the better it is for you. And one word you need to learn to tell to your soon-to-be ex-wife, remember this word, no. So I thought, this bird kens what she's talking about. Her name was Lulu, by the way, so that's a sign, you ken, because Lulu's a good Scottish singer. She's about the only one out there on a par with me these days, apart from Billy Connolly. Obviously he's fucking streets ahead, but me and Lulu are neck and neck for second place. Now, so 1 o'clock I said, fuck it, so I just threw some stuff in a suitcase. I've actually left some stuff behind, but I managed to get here. I never had anyone's phone contact detail numbers or anything. I gets the plane into London Gatwick. Luckily I got off a plane onto a bus where I need to be. I'm at this place in south coast of England, but I got here at 12 o'clock at night, and I never had anywhere to stay basically, so I started pounding the streets. The first place I went to was the Premier Inn. It says in the window £29, rooms from £29. I thought, that's just a fucking very job for me. Goes in there, you got a room, pal? Aye, great, how much? £79. See you later, was the answer to that end. So then I walked them in another place. I went to two other places, both at £79. I think they're all in league with each other, you can. It's like the oil companies all set the petrol at the same price, so these hotels were doing that. I even went to one that was £95. I was like, you're fucking having a laugh, pal, you can. It's fucking 12 o'clock, I'll be out here by 10 o'clock. You're going to charge me fucking £95 for 10 hours when I'll be in a scratcher. Aye, right. Eventually I found this one again, it was £79, but I says, come on, you got to be able to do better than that, so it came down to 64, which wasn't too bad. You can, Scottish people aren't tight, we just like having value for money, you can. Even 64 quid was a bit of a rip-off, but it's still better than 79. 15 quid is better in my pocket, as far as I'm concerned. So, does that, made a few phone calls the next day, and I've arrived here at the place where we're having the ceremony. The ceremony starts tomorrow, so I have to starve myself. If you came what ayahuasca's like, you drink this fluid and you're sick and you shit your brains out for about a couple of hours, you can. So it's good to have no very much in your stomach. Plus, the less you have in your stomach, the more that ayahuasca can work on you, you can. And I'm taking some black ayahuasca, no the red stuff. The red stuff is stuff you get lots of visions on, and you can actually communicate with a plant, have a two-way conversation. But this black stuff gets right deep into your core, you can, and it works on a deeper, more profound level. So it's not ego-driven, because I quite fancy having these visions. I've only ever took the black ayahuasca, so I'm kind of saying I'm missing out, because I'm reading all these books about people who take the red stuff and they're talking to fucking snakes with two heads and all that. So I thought I quite fancy about that. I want to talk to a plant. You ever tried talking to a plant before? Apparently that's what you do. That ayahuasca's got a spirit, you see, and it's very wise. For instance, my mate here, he took it with a shaman who's coming tomorrow night to take the ceremony, because you hate to do this stuff with a shaman, by the way. It's no recreational drug, right? I've got another friend back in Turkey, this beautiful girl, and I was telling her, do you know what ayahuasca is? I said, aye. She said, aye. I said, I'm going to England to take it 6 days in a row. She's like, what? Can you do that? I was like, well, I'm about to fucking find out, you can. So it's no I said that to her, it's not a recreational drug. She says, no, it's no. I've heard people have some good experience and some pretty scary ones. I says, aye, well, I'm a brave soldier, you know, my warrior, ladies and gentlemen. Are any of yous warriors, eh? What are you doing to advance your spirituality? Because this is crunch time, by the way, in case you never noticed that. In case you're wondering why the world's fucking completely bonkers these days in your life, in each individual's life, is getting more and more bonkers, isn't it? We're questioning what we're on this planet for, what our purpose is, what are the meaning of these crappy jobs we have to go through day after fucking day. It's crunch time, it's a fork in the road, and it's time to deal with our shadow, I think. You know, we've got to look at our shadow, look at ourselves, look at the choices we're making on a day-to-day basis, and start making ones from the heart rather than this ego mind, because the earth is into it's the fifth sun, as some people call it. And, you know, it's like a new world about to be born. Mother Nature, the goddess Gaia, is taking those that want to up to a higher dimension of love and beauty and truth and lightness, because this world's quite heavy. It's getting close to the hell realms, you know. And the more, for instance, this shaman, I've talked to him before, and he says there's a bifurcation coming up. A bifurcation, that means the fork in the road is going to happen, but we're not all going to go down the George Orwell 1984 side. Some of us will go to the other side where it's peace, love and utopia. Now, I don't care about you, but if I have a choice between utopia and fucking George Orwell's Orwellian state, it's no margin, you know. But the thing is, you can make the choice in your mind. I'll choose utopia, no bother, but you've got to do the spiritual work to get there, you can, and that means facing your shadow, embracing your shadow, making peace with your ego, maturing your ego, and making decisions based from the heart, because that's the natural human state. That's what we used to be like. Actually now, when you look around the populace, some people say that we're actually only 3% human. Most of us are just fucking Ottomans, you know. Most of our daily actions is a subconscious mind just on auto repeat, basically. You know, we'll get up with habit forming, and there's no breaking the fucking cycle that we're on. And you can't just say one day, okay, I'll break the cycle of the day, because the subconscious mind doesn't work like that. You have to actually get in there subliminally, or past the conscious mind to change your behaviour, and take ayahuasca is the way I'm doing it. I've also done things like point holding, where you push these buttons on yourself and you break down the crystals in your DNA, and that releases deep repressed emotions inside you. That's another way to change your consciousness. I've not been doing a lot. I've been stressed up to the max, living with my wife, who I'm divorcing. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that, live with somebody who you've agreed to divorce with for 6 months, but let's be honest, it's fucking hellish. And I've been very much controlled and restrained and felt like you feel like gripped. 2010 was a tough year for me. I don't know about you, I think it's probably tough for you as well, because we're all facing these things. And that was part of my growth, I think, is to say, no, I'm fucking out of here, I'm taking control of my own destiny. I can't be a prisoner for somebody else. I'll do my best to look after my boy, and I'll share in my father responsibilities, but didn't expect me to fucking sit in a house and be your personal shopper for you. So I've made that decision to get an apartment, and I'm already looking forward to that. When I get back to England, I'm going to have my own apartment, my own space, and I'm going to start meditating and doing what I go today to try and get on the good side of the fork in the road. I know the fucking hellish side, where you'll get a microchip in your arm. You can all this external technology that we use, like these video cameras and the Apple computers. Let's think about that. What is the Apple sign? It's the sign of Apple Mac. You look at an Apple Mac computer, it's an apple, isn't it? But it's got a bite with it. That bite is the fall of man, The fall of man in the Garden of Eden. That was technology. That's when the wheel was invented. You start using the wheel, that's a slide into that fucking... That was the start of the downfall for external technology. We all think these cameras and fucking video computer games and everything's great. Like, they've got this new one, isn't it? You just move your body and look at the screen, it's just doing it like that, as if by fucking magic. Woohoo, let's take it to the next level, shall we? Let's get a wee microchip implanted in us. Aye, that'll be a great idea. Then we'll be able to fucking be at one with the fucking computers. Well, that's not right, ladies and gentlemen. It's completely fucking wrong. Anything the internet can do, we can do with our minds. For instance, there's a lady called Little Grandmother. Check her out. She does stuff with her mind. There's 12 of these elder tribes people, and they can communicate. They communicate without telephones. There's 12 of these people, and they were prophesied to come here at this time and wake people up to what's actually happening in December 21st, 2012. Some people say, but there's going to be a day where there's 2 days of darkness. And at that time, to hold the energy of love as much as you can, and that's when those that are in love and can resonate love and they've worked on themselves will go down the side of utopia. Those in fear and anger and confusion, well, you're going to go into heavier realms of existence, more hellish realms where there's more rules and regulations, more like gravity, and in these other realms, gravity is not so strong. There's all these kinds of rules of the universe going on. So, aye. Little Grandmother, check her out. She can communicate with these other 11 beings, there's 12 of them, and she just looks, and it's like a magic television screen appears in front of her, she says, and the person appears and they have a conversation, and they're like on the other side of the world. We think the internet and Skype and all that's fucking magic. That's an external manifestation of what we can actually do already. We're supposed to be living in tune with Mother Nature, our natural habitat, the rhythms of the earth. The moon, the sun, the winter solstice was just happening there. Did anybody mention that at all at Christmas? No, it's all fucking... There's a fucking brand new computer for you, pal. Merry Christmas. What about the magnificence of the sun and the rebirth of the sun in the northern hemisphere? What about that? What about celebrating those kind of things? We had in this solstice there was a full moon as well, wasn't there? And a total eclipse. Fucking hell. There's a 3-in-1 for you. Why aren't we celebrating those things so much, instead of buying computer games and corporations and the evilness in the world, Because evil is the opposite of live, isn't it? Evil is live backwards, so live in the lighter realms we're living. In the hellish realms, it's like things get heavy and dense. So those that are going to go down this fork in the road, that's not to say there's no chance of them escaping there, but it's going to be more difficult for those people to enlighten their spirit to get back to the good side in the future. So if you're out there listening to this and you've got any questions for me, let me ken and I'll give you some bullshit back. But the main thing I'll say to you is, hey, I've got a lot of work to do. Let's start meditating. Let's start talking about these things. Let's get a dialogue going, eh? And we can all get there together. Or at least those of us who make the effort. I'm going to try and that's my New Year's resolution. Make the effort to get on the good side of the fork. Aye. Because when it all comes down to it, it's like learning another language. You can, it's all about, people say, it's a hard language to learn. Like, I'm trying to learn Turkish. It's a hard language, isn't it? I'm like, no really, if I sit down and fucking tried to learn it, I'd probably learn it, you can. It's all about effort. But that gets drilled out of us. We expect everything handed to us on a plate because we've been indoctrinated to think that way. The government and the nanny state will take care of us. Well, that's bullshit. We've got to take care of ourselves and we've got to start asking the right questions. Is what I'm doing morally and ethically correct? Am I serving people in a good way for the greater good of humanity? Or am I just doing it to make a buck? Don't get me wrong, a lot of people do things to make a buck to feed their family, but there has to be a line drawn somewhere. For instance, if you make vaccines that are poisoning large numbers of people and you know it's fucking no doing them any good injecting mercury into them, but you think you're feeding your family, but you're killing many other people to do it, I would say fucking look at your actions and ask if you can go and get a job serving in an ice cream shop or something like that that might serve humanity in a better way, even though your family will have to make do with less computer games because you can't afford the fucking shite games anyway that just keep you locked. I keep my son, I'm buying my son Wii games. I'm here fucking walking in shops looking for Wii games for him, but I really hate Wii. It's my mother's fucking idea him to buy a Wii. Now he's hooked in this shit. I'm going to have to, I'll keep buying him games because I think I'm being a good daddy, but I'm not really. I'm fucking getting him brainwashed into the external technology world just the same. So, hey, I've learned something in this conversation as well. I think I need to fucking sort that unit, but in the meantime it shuts him up to get me to get some work done, so that's why I keep buying them. Anyway, who knows, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying to you is this. This is my introductory video for my mental 6 days ayahuasca trip. I'm going to fucking do a video blog. I'm going to try and record this stuff. I'm trying to go, when I'm even on ayahuasca itself, I'll come and talk to you then. Should be interesting, eh? In the meantime, you'll not see this until for another couple of weeks later because I hate to get back home and edit it. But let's see how it all pans out, shall we? Right now, I'm quite optimistic. 6 days later, I might be fucking at death's door. Who knows? Could be a good thing. I'm hoping it is. I'm quite good. I'm gonna have a good experience, you know, because let's face it, any time working on yourself is valuable time. That's what we need to learn from this video blog. That's today's message. Thanks for listening if you've lasted this long, and feel free to comment, ask me a question, let's interact, shall we? Let's fucking have some dialogue out there in Nob world, because I kind of am a bit of a nutter, but hey, at least I'm embracing my nutteriness. You can, that's what embracing the shadows all about. Okay, in the meantime, take care, bye bye, catch you later.